Hey friends, it is February, so I am taking a little bit of time today in my basement lair to get organized and kind of prepare myself and be ready for what I want to do in February in the garden slash my garden room in the basement. So I have got my calendar, my February calendar out. I've got some seeds, I've got a little planning thing, and let me show you kind of what I got going on here. So here's my February calendar, and all I'm doing is kind of making vague notes to myself, kind of planning out where I'm going to be. I already put these weeks on here. These are the weeks that are left until my last frost. So this is how many weeks technically it will be before things can go outside if a frost will kill them. So those have already been on here. So I'm looking at doing tray 3 this coming week after the weekend. Tray 3 is a bunch of perennials. I have the seeds for tray 3 already pulled in here. These are the varieties I want to do. They're ready to go. I also have plus WS, which stands for winter sowing here. Anything I want to winter sow, I'm going to put outside. I'm not doing a ton of winter sowing this year, but I do have a handful of seeds that I can. I'll see how many containers I manage to save by then. And I'm going to go ahead and get those done this week or this week. Week 14 before my frost, I'm going to do trays 4 and 5, which are cold hardy things, cabbages, broccolis, kale, that kind of stuff. Plus I've got some geranium seeds that I saved from that ivy, that red tornado ivy. I did the same ones last year. I got a couple seeds. I'm going to plant those. Week 13, I'm going to plan to pull all my dahlias. I don't have these planned yet, but dahlias, I like them to size up a little bit just so I get flowers a little earlier. And then I also have got a couple ranunculus corms I saved from last year that I'm going to try and get going. And I've got a note to myself to go temp the greenhouse at my dad's house. I want to see, starting about this week in February, what the difference in temperature is outside and inside this greenhouse, because it does have a lot of protection from the wind and the cold. And I want to see how much warmer it is in there on an average given day. So I've got one of those thermometers where it will send the temp to your phone. There's an app on it. So I'm going to be tracking that this week because my goal is, starting these cold hardy things in week 14, is to put them out into this greenhouse as soon as I feel like there won't be a killing frost at night. Now, cold hardy can take a frost, but it can't take a frost for a prolonged period of time. It can't take a deep frost. So a couple degrees under will be okay. But if we got down into the 20s, which in Michigan happens in March, they wouldn't make it. So I'm kind of playing with when to put these cold hardy plants out in my dad's greenhouse this year. That's my hope this year. Instead of keeping these cold hardies at my house until I can plant them outside, I'm hoping to keep them maybe for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, and then move them into the greenhouse until I'm ready to plant. We'll see if that works or not. And then the last week of February, I will be starting all of my peppers and eggplants. That is 12 weeks out. I do this on purpose because in Michigan, peppers are never a guarantee. Sometimes the summers are not warm enough. Sometimes they're not long enough. There's been years where I have gotten very few peppers, or I haven't gotten peppers until the end of summer. So I start these very early so I can get as big of a plant and as big of a head start as I can. So that's kind of what I got going on here. And like I mentioned, I have these seeds pulled. I have the seeds for tray 4 and 5 pulled. I've got my geranium seeds. My dahlias are really easy to get together. My corms are sitting out. What I'm going to kind of do today is I'm going to go through and look at what pepper varieties I want to start and how many I need. Peppers are one of the plants where I start the babies for other people. So I've got myself, my mom's house, my sister, and my sister-in-law. And I'm going to go ahead and list all my peppers down the side here that I'm going to grow this year. And then I'm going to go through and put how many of each ideally we'd like to have in our gardens this year. So here's my list. Still waiting on my sister-in-law, but everybody else is in here. You can see I don't need any California Wonders, but my mom would like 4 and my sister would like 12. So I need 16 altogether. I'll probably start 18 to 20 in there. I'm going to have some loss in there. I usually start quite a few peppers. They usually all kind of work out, but the wimpier ones, maybe not as well as the other ones. I also, other than these people here, I have other people that will come buy plants off of me. I just make sure, I know every year they buy from me, so I make sure to get what they want and I start it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. They go down to the next store, you know, the neighborhood greenhouse, and they buy what they can find there. But if I can get them these ones, they will buy them. If I have extras, I will just put them up on Facebook Marketplace or, you know, tell my friends, anybody want these plants, put them on my front porch, sell them for $2, get them out of here. There's always people that want to buy extra plants. So I will start extra. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and add these up, find out how many trays peppers I'm going to start. I think last year I started 3, and I think I'm looking at starting about the same right now. So let me do that real quick. Okay, between the 3 of us, we're looking at like about 107, 108, right around in there for pepper plants. My sister-in-law will get back with me, and then plus a couple extra, and I'm going to end up with 3 full trays. It's 144 peppers that I'm going to start the last week of February. So that's why I pull these seeds. I'm going to make sure I got enough cups to start them. I'm going to make sure that I've got enough soil. It's good to know those things, and you can't plan for the whole planting season. I mean, you can try, and I have, because I am a planner up front. I like to know everything that I possibly can, but man, my hair's doing, I just washed my hair and threw it up. It's doing some crazy stuff. However, I've learned since that about a month at a time. So I'm going to start the first week of February, get February kind of planned out, have some vague idea about March, but by the end of February, I'll probably have changed my mind 100 more times. So I'm getting myself ready for February, checking my seeds, checking my orders. Oh, you want to check out one more thing? Let's check out the seeds because I had some sprout already. So I pulled them out of the light because that red and blue light makes it hard to see. But look at, do you see the babies? Okay, the very first thing to sprout yesterday was the Elsa Craig onions. Aren't they beautiful? Behind them, though, you're going to see the red onions are also up now, and so are the yellow onions. So all my onion cups have got baby sprouts in them. Beautiful. Also up, my marjoram. Now, marjoram came up really fast, but it's a very smaller kind of low to the ground plant, so I started early. Parsley, celery, not up yet. But I do have a little baby valerian up. And it looks like I got an artichoke about to break through too. So that is super, super fun. First seeds are up. And I've got one more thing I'm going to check out when I'm doing prepping and planning. And that is we're going to check out the pantry, kind of see how it's doing in February. I'm going to use this to see what I possibly need to amp up growing for the next gardening season. So if I'm low on something and I know I'm going to need to can heavy, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I make those kind of plants happen in my garden. Here is another reason why it's important to check your pantry, because some things will go bad. That spaghetti squash is no longer good. It's got to get out of here. Ooh, this pumpkin's getting soft too. That one looks good. That one looks good. These guys look good. All right, I'm going to have to come down, and I guess the chickens are going to get some extra treats today. But if you look at the jars down here, I am fully stocked on broths. I have got some soups over here. My corn still looks good. I'm not too worried. I don't grow my own corn. I get it from the farmer market. Pickled zucchini, I've got a couple. I've got some pickled dilly beans and some pickled peppers. What I'm finding with peppers as I'm using these is that I don't use cut up peppers as much as I use whole peppers. It seems like we like to snack on like a full pickled pepper or put it up on a charcuterie tray when I have people over more than we actually put pickles on as a topping. So I want the whole pickle. So I am doing some smaller pickles or some smaller peppers this year so I can can them whole. Back here, I do have some dill pickles still, but I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 7. So I need to make sure I can cucumbers this year. I've got kraut. Carrots, I don't ever can my own either. I'm not lucky enough to get enough. So I'm going to need to do that. We go down here. I have the everlasting pears, apple butter, and applesauce. Ooh, look, this is the vanilla I made. Isn't that awesome? Ooh, and blueberries. I will always do blueberries every year, so I'll do some more of those. I might try and get apples this year. Let's flip over to this other side. Over in here, I'm getting really low on onions, but this is the first I've ever had onions, so I'm pretty happy. I've got plenty of garlic. I have plenty of salsa. This was the thing I canned a ton of this year because we ran out last year. So I'm heavy on salsa. I will need to can more because we go through so much, but maybe not too much. Up here, I have rhubarb. Ooh, I got a couple potatoes, and I have some beans. I'm probably not going to worry too much about those. I always get plenty of beans. Here is the thing that I'm most worried about. This is pasta sauce, and I am down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 quarts of pasta sauce to last me until August. Not enough. I'm going to need to do a seriously huge batch of pasta sauce this year. So that means lots of tomatoes. But all in all, this is doing pretty good. Other than that pasta sauce, everything else is pretty much going to last me until I need to can it again. Yeah, not bad. So for me, it looks like tomatoes are going to be my biggest focus. We'll go ahead and start tomatoes in March. I have started tomatoes earlier than the second week of March, and it's a bad idea because they get huge. They work really well, but they get way, way too big in the house. So I am going to start my tomatoes the middle of March. Hold me to this because I'm going to get antsy about the first week and be like, I need to. That's my cat. Look at her. What are you doing over there? Knocking stuff over. Gracie the gardening cat. I forget what I was saying. Something about tomatoes. I'm going to grow a lot of tomatoes. Don't let me start them too early. Watch. Middle of March. I'm putting it out here in the world right now. We'll see. Okay, friends. That's kind of it for my February planning. We hit the pantry. We hit the seeds I planted. We looked at seeds for this coming month as well as what I need to sell. I'm kind of organized. The only thing we didn't look at was the chickens, who are doing just fine, and they're not laying yet. Soon. I don't think I'm getting any new chicks this year. I have got 7, and I think that is good. Yeah, we're going to call that good. All right. I hope that you guys enjoyed my kind of haphazard planning session down here. And if you have any questions or tell me what you're doing in February to get ready for the garden. All right. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.